Hello, 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 everybody. This is Amani Jackson with the Queenhood, and I am super excited about today's interview, especially because it's with my big sister, Michelle Poitier. Michelle is going to spend some time talking to us today about her two new babies, Healing Nations of Northeast Florida, and Michelle Speaks. So we want to thank Michelle for spending some time with us this morning. I'm going to try not to be so excited and so girlish about this interview because I absolutely love her, and you guys are going to get an opportunity to see why. So Michelle, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, the people who don't know you like I do.
Right. Well, greetings, everyone. But I first have to say that I so love my little sister as well, Miss Amani Jackson. She is a little fireball. She is spitfire, but she's doing it for a good cause. And so I love her, and I'm honored that she would want to interview me to let, just to share about what I'm doing within the community and within the nations, hence Healing Women, Healing Nations. So a little bit about myself before we get into Healing Women, Healing Nations. I am a 13-year U.S. Navy veteran. I'm a mother and a grandmother of two beautiful grandchildren. They're 3 and 2, Laura and Aiden. And my daughter Alexis is soon to be 23 this month. So also a freelance writer. I'm an advocate. I am a author. But most importantly, I'm a business owner of several businesses. But most importantly, I advocate, and Healing Women, Healing Nations is my passion. It's my baby. It's everything that I've endured in my life that caused me pain, that caused me to push me into my purpose, which is Healing Women, Healing Nations of Northeast Florida. Um, Things that we struggle with. We all have challenges. We all have things that we've had some horrific things transpire in our lives. Some that have caused us to kind of be skewed in our thinking and our thought process and in our emotions and things of that nature. And so I am one of those as well. I am a survivor of domestic and sexual abuse and mental health challenges, trauma, and homelessness due to post-traumatic stress secondary to military sexual trauma. And so that is the reason why I started Healing Women, Healing Nations in Northeast Florida. It was actually just because I am a writer. Any writer will agree with me when I say this, that we all love to journal. So one day during a dark period, I was journaling, and I just happened to write out Healing Women, Healing Nations. I say happen, but I know it was just the Holy Spirit downloading that into me. But it stayed there. It stayed a thought. It stayed a note in my journal for the next 2 years until 2015 in August. And then I officially registered it with the state and had my vision and my mission and all of that. It was just coming to fruition. And when I went back and looked in my journal, it was 2 years to the day that I had written it in my journal. And that was not planned. So that was a God thing. But in essence, Healing Women, Healing Nations, our vision is a community where women can heal their wounds, they can regain their voice, and they can find their place in society again. Our mission to accomplish that is to engage the community, educating them the emergent need of our female veterans that are homeless, that have PTSD because of military sexual trauma, and also to educate the female veterans and the women, making them aware of their benefits, their resources, the things that are available to them. And then we want to empower them, female veterans and women in general, to know that their circumstances are temporary and that they can overcome them and that they can successfully reintegrate back into the society after homelessness, trauma, abuse, substance abuse, whatever it may be that they're dealing with, whatever, their challenges caused them to go to, whatever they picked up, whatever addiction they picked up, whatever crush they picked up, that they can overcome that and be successful in society again. And so Healing Women, Healing Nations, what it means to me is this. Because as women, we are the first focal point in our children's lives. We are pivotal in the lives of so many, our loved ones that, care for us and depend on us. And we are leaders, we are mothers, we are sisters, fathers sometimes when we need to be. We are confidants. We are whatever we are needed to be at that particular moment. And we put on this mask of strength to kind of hide the things that we're dealing with. We shove it down and shove it down. But you can only shove things down for so much before it's going to manifest. So, because we are the first focal points, and for our spouses as well, they look to us for guidance, for confirmation, for clarity, for direction. If we haven't dealt with our stuff, then what we're going to pour into them is dysfunctional. What we're going to pour into our children are dysfunctional because we help them to shape their morals and their value system and things like that. That's going to turn into dysfunctional teenagers, which yields dysfunctional adults, which we're turning out into the community. So, in essence, by healing women, we are healing our nation one woman at a time. So, that is my baby. That is my passion. That is my desire. That's what drives me. That's what gets me up every morning to help women. Saying that I don't love our men, because I do. We all have our stuff, but I'm a woman, so I know how to help a woman. I don't know how to help a man because I'm not a man. So,
Oh, yes. And I mean, it's just so amazing because we've known each other since before you established Healing Women, Healing Nations, even though you already had the vision. And we knew each other before I started the Queenhood. And our visions were so akin to each other. With the Queenhood, my motto, my slogan is a queen nonetheless. And that's because women are always going through things, emotionally, spiritually, physically. We're being knocked down by life, knocked down by ourselves, knocked down by our spouses, what have you. And we can lose the sight of our worth. All of these things escape us, our magic. We forget because life gets so dreary, it gets so ugly and so hard, and we forget our power. We forget, just how amazing and precious we are. And so I love telling women, you're a queen nonetheless, regardless of if you've gotten cancer, regardless of whatever happened and you now have 12 kids, regardless of the job you have, of how your boyfriend is treating you, if you're single, regardless, you're a queen nonetheless. And so it's so akin to your vision of helping women. And you're right, women are the source. We are the source. We are the ones that carry the children, the nations in our womb and birth them. We're the ones that let them suckle at our teeth. We nurture them. We help guide them and develop them. Our kings, our husbands, they come home out of the community to us. They get nurture and love and affection from us. They get guidance and comfort and sympathy and encouragement from us. Their dinners from us. So behind closed doors, we are the source of it all. It flows from what we give. And if we are giving toxic,
yes,
relationships, if we're degenerative in our thoughts, if we're not loving ourselves, you can only give what you have. You can't pour from a pot of grease and get clean water.
right,
Pour from a pail of sewage and get pure gold. You're going to give what you have. And if what you have is toxic, if what you have is self-loathing and pain, that's all you can give. It's all your community can receive from you or anything that comes out of your house, because you are that source in the house. And so I really love what you are doing because it's so necessary, and you just have the spirit and the heart for it. And so I think that, the community and whoever you come in contact with is definitely going to benefit from that. So what else, girl?
thank you, thank you, thank you. What else can I say? I can let you know what we've done to date and what we have coming up, and what else has been birthed out of Healing Women, Healing Nations. So this year is the year that I've really, it's been an organization since 2015. But it's grassroots, it's a work in process. You got to put your hand to the plow and just plow. And especially with the content and the topics that we deal with, it's rough because people don't want to address it. People want to act like it's not there. It's that proverbial elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Like you can't see that big old gigantic elephant in the room, but pretend it's not there. So we talk about it, we address it, we find viable solutions, we provide hope, that there is life after trauma, there's life after abuse, there's life after mental illness. Mental illness does not have a face. Trauma does not have a face. Suicidal ideations does not have a face. Homelessness does not have a face. I was homeless for 6 months and nobody knew about it. I was still going to work. I was still working my business, building my business, my other business. I was still functioning, but I was living out of my car. I was living out of extended stays, and I felt all alone. And I felt ashamed because I was like, I served my country. I raised my daughter. Am I not able to maintain and sustain a home, you know, a car, a relationship? It was just, and that's the thing with women that battle with mental health challenges or PTS or, you know, being a survivor of domestic and sexual abuse and all of that, that changes you. It changes your psyche. It changes the chemistry in your brain and how you work and how you function and how you process. So it becomes skewed. So we want to help women rebalance, reawaken, rethink, revive, rekindle, repurpose, reimagine, relive, just blossom. And so that's the heart of what we do and why we do it. Um, our first event of the year was called Learning to Love Me. Get it? So we're awesome at loving others and pouring into others, but we always put ourselves last, like I'll be okay, or I don't need this, or I know this is going on, but let me put this mask on because I got to take care of my mother or my father or my husband or my child or this job or something in the community, all this stuff. And then we're at the low end of the totem pole. But learning to love me, we help women to learn to love themselves and how that self-love is so important to their self-worth, their sense of self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. And so that event was so powerful. It was the first one of the year. Our speaker hailed out of Virginia. Um, and it was just an amazing, it was beyond what I expected. The women were just so energized and revived. I mean, there was crying, tears of joy, of course, because we as women, we are emotional creatures. I've come to grips with that, because it took me a long time to come to grips with the fact that I do cry, and it's not a sign of weakness. Yes, sometimes. So, our next event was a self defense workshop, protecting your greatest asset, which is you. So I felt that if women that had endured trauma, abuse, whatever, all of that, we have to have a sense of security wherever we are because we're hyper vigilant because of the things that we've encountered. So I felt that this would give them another level or layer of empowerment to learn how to defend themselves with just simple things that they may have on their person. Not saying that you have to be in the perfect shape and do all this karate or kung fu or whatever, but you can use simple things to protect yourselves, to kind of elevate that sense of security that was stolen from you when you were violated or when you were dealing with your challenges. And so it was awesome. It was amazing. And then our
Awesome.
most recent event, yeah, was Beautiful Flower Blossom on a Budget. It was amazing. It was so different from the last event, but it was amazing. We had a fashion show. We talked about finances, fashion, fitness, health. We addressed all of this, but in an environment that it made the women feel empowered. We addressed both the outer and the inner beauty. We had people come in and talk about, how to enhance your natural beauty without breaking the bank. And that's why we had somebody come in and talk about finances. And then we had somebody come in and talk about fitness and about hair care tips and then about how to coupon. So being beautiful and managing on a budget. But then the kicker was we had the fashion show and our moderator, we all had, we had business attire, casual attire, church attire, social attire after 5, but it was all on a budget. And so our moderator kind of walked us through the models as they came out, and just told where the models got their outfits and how much it costs, letting women know that you can piece stuff and put it together and still look fabulous without breaking the bank.
And that is so
But then to
important because I know that at some point you think, oh my gosh, I have to have Estee Lauder for good makeup or MAC for good makeup or go to Sephora. And some people can't do that. They
right,
have to get their makeup from Dollar Tree and Dollar General and Family Dollar. And that's, if they can even make it to a Walmart or a Target or a CVS. So, we do have to
right,
learn how to work with what we have, and enhancing the natural beauty is the most beautiful thing a woman can do. We don't need all of the super makeup. You want to still look like what you look like, but just touch it up a little bit, just a few of the little flaws that you have. And so I think that that was a great idea. And then helping them understand where to get your great clothes from, because we look at the celebrities, I don't know why, but we always look at them to see,
hmm,
what they're wearing, and we don't realize they're celebrities, like they're making millions. So it's not realistic to try
right,
to their outfits. And you're not going to go to Dolce and Gabbana and Gucci and Fendi and Prada and any of these other, and I can only tell you the biggest historical names for fashion because I'm not into fashion at all. I can't tell you the latest designers at all. But we can't get their clothes, and so we do need to know, what can I get? What can I get for $15.99, under $20? Because honestly, that's budgeting your money. If your top or your bottom is over $20, you're doing pretty good. And so a lot of people are looking for clothes that they can get the pair under $20, the shirt under 20, the pants under 20. Where can I get shoes that are gonna be good on my feet if I'm walking or have a stand-up job, and I look good and it goes with my weight? Because we have some fluffy and fly divas out there, and we don't want to be
right,
like, hello. We don't want to be in flat shoes. We want to have a heel, and we want to be cute, and we want it to be a supportive shoe, and we can't afford to pay $150 for this shoe. It can't be a Clark. It can't be, Aeropostale. It can't be brand these high brand designers. We need something that works for us, works for our body type and our bank. So yeah, that
right.
sounded awesome. Are you gonna have another one soon?
We are, but the other part of that engagement or that event was that we also dealt with the inner beauty. We had our speaker come in and talk about inner beauty and putting your heart on a budget and being mindful of who you give your heart to and who you allow to, infiltrate your heart, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what are you allowing in, and who are you allowing in to your heart? So it was amazing. People are still talking about it. I'm still getting comments on Facebook, from the photos and from the website, and people calling me. So it was empowering. So what do we have coming up? So in September, and this is something for the men and the women, it is chips, the good, the bad, and the so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I saw that look. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, so we haven't hashed out all the details, but it's going to be powerful. And so what else we have coming up? We are starting to do direct services. So we will be having support groups every month, either the third or fourth Saturday of every month, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will be focusing on female veterans that have encountered any kind of trauma, abuse, or suffer with mental health challenges. And then from 12:30 to 1:30, we will be helping women in general that have had the same kind of challenges. And so we're just focused on empowering and healing the whole woman holistically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, just across the board. And so I'm excited about what we're doing, because our goal is to establish a shelter, our end goal. But right now, we're providing workshops, empowerment events, support groups, um, just social service referrals, things of that nature that will help women practically get back on track.
Now, you've mentioned, and I know that you're a veteran, and I keep hearing you mention female veterans, and this is interesting, and it's something that I want you to touch on a little bit because females for so long have just started increasing their presence in the military. And I know that this was a male dominated organization for so long. And I watched the movie G.I. Jane, and I know that it didn't touch in depth everything that women go through in the military. And we've heard the horror stories about women being sexually abused, about them being discriminated against because, they've come into this male dominated industry. And I think it's so disheartening because women have made the same sacrifices, if not more, leaving their children behind. They're young after they've given birth. And traditionally, the woman is used to staying in the home and raising her children. And even if she doesn't work from home or work in home, at least being able to come home to her children at the end of the day. And now we're being deployed and we're being separated from our children for months on end. And we're missing the developmental stages that our children need us most in. And so to actually be an active part in the nation's security, be disrespected and violated in the way that we are within the services is just an atrocity. It's an atrocity for the military to stand for defending its nation and then violate its very own service members internally. And so I just wanted you to touch on that for a moment and tell us, for women who are going through challenges like this inside the service, what is their best recourse? I understand that, when they try to do the reports, it's swept under the rug because they're the good old boys and they're protecting each other. But outside of turning to an organization like yours for support, what else can they truly, truly do to try to get some assistance?
Well, that is a tough topic, and I'm glad you mentioned that because this is something that's gone on for years. It's just now they're just now putting that shining the flashlight or the spotlight on it, I should say. Women don't even want to identify as being female veterans because of the things that they endured and because it's such a taboo topic within the military. And you're right, we were side by side with our male counterparts, fighting for our country to preserve the very rights that they violated. We're serving side by side, but you're violating us, and you're supposed to be protecting us and helping us to protect our country. So, what can they do? Honestly, a lot of women don't identify as female veterans. A lot of women are just struggling to survive and to keep their mental um, health because of all the things they endured and because they've suppressed it and things like that. And so it's organizations just like mine, and there are others around the country that are starting to rise up because women veterans are starting to regain their voice so that they can help our service sisters, heal. Um, they can, of course, file a grievance, but that's a long and tedious and arduous process. And a lot of times they're re-violated or re-victimized or blamed. There's a lot of victim blaming and pointing the fingers, and they're isolated and they're ostracized. So that is a deterrent for them to even want to come forward to try to fight and pursue it. And then some of them do, but you get tired. You just get tired because, I'm a survivor of that. And I'm a fighter, naturally and spiritually, but I was exhausted. I got to a point where I couldn't do another thing, almost became the 22 a day that they say statistically are committing suicide, but it's actually much higher than that, especially among the female veteran community. And because of that, it's causing them to not just commit suicide, but it's causing them to become violent with anyone that they perceive to be violating their personal space or violating the things that they're stolen from them. They're not able to maintain or sustain relationships or employment or financial obligations because their mind is in a constant turmoil and it's stuck in that place. And so there's an organization called LoneSurvivorFoundation.org that is specifically dealing with military sexual trauma among female veterans. That is a resource. All you have to do is go online and apply. They will accept you. They have retreats, uh, multiple times throughout the year, and it helps. They provide uh, state of the art therapy. They have equine therapy, with the horses. They have neural feedback, and that was the thing that helped me. I mean, it was absolutely amazing because being in the VA system, you have to try so many things. They put you on so many meds to try to find the right mix, and then some of it can cause you to be go into a deeper depression and stuff like that. But I found that just having that neural feedback, that has been the best medicine for me, aside from being out in nature. I mean, there's a healing quality to nature that nothing else can mimic. What else can they do? They can continue to raise their voices about what is going on, unite together. Because if we become silent and just stay silent, then we're going to have many, many more instances of women committing suicide or even committing murder, because they've been pushed to the edge and they just can't take anymore. Um, it's time for the military to own up to the fact that, these people in high positions of authority have violated the very soldiers that they're supposed to be training and supporting and protecting. They need to be held accountable. We need to stop defending our perpetrators, and we need to start saving our victims, which is our women. Because women, as you said earlier, we're procreators. We're the creators of life. And if you continue to do the things, if it continues to go in the way that it's going, we're going to die out. I know that sounds kind of extreme, and I don't mean die out per se physically, but
Right.
mentally,
And then
emotionally.
less and less women will be comfortable joining the military. And I think it, and and I just, it's interesting because women things in. We endure the pain of childbirth. We endure so much in our relationships. We take it, we fight silently, and then you take us and you train us as soldiers, and so we become soldiers. So now we're natural fighters and survivors, and on top of that, now we're soldiers, and that makes us want to just tough it out, and it's not fair. And morally, the integrity of the organization has come into question, and it's under the scope. But I think that as a country, all of the things that we as a country, as a nation, do to our own, the how society has started breaking down, and we've started violating the civil liberties of our own our own residents. So if one organization, the military, can look at the entire country and say, well, they're above the law, I think that it starts at the top and it goes down, where the accountability starts, and then we start as a nation saying we were wrong in doing that, we were wrong in doing that, we're going to try to rectify it. Then it goes downhill, and our organizations within our government will say, you know what, it's time for all of us on all levels to step up. Michelle, I really am going to just at least look at your website, Healing Women, Healing Nations of Northeast Florida. Definitely get the assistance that you need if you're a woman in any of these situations and you need some resources. I would love for you to reach out to Michelle Poitier. She is an amazing contact. She is a very strong woman. She will be able to assist you through almost anything. And if she can't assist you, I guarantee you she can get you in contact with someone who can. Michelle, I wanted to
Right.
move to the next project that you have going on. Michelle Speaks. What's going on with that?
Well, Michelle speaks. If you hide it, you can't heal it, and no topic is taboo. It
Woo!
actually started out, I know, right? That's powerful in and of itself. It actually started out as it was just I'm a public speaker, inspirational speaker, and I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years. And just this year, I was given the vision to do a podcast to talk about the unmentionables, the things that we struggle with that nobody else knows that we're struggling with, not even our closest friend, but we're struggling. And we're putting on this mask yet again that we're okay and we're not. So, Michelle Speaks, we talk about the hard stuff. We talk about abortion. We talk about church hurt. We talk about male vulnerability. We talk about in marriage, is it a deal breaker? We talk about um, um, just a myriad of things that it goes through our minds, but we don't talk about it. Even in committed relationships where we've been together for years, we don't talk about the things that really matter.
I
Like, I
love
really,
taboo topics. I love them. I
yes,
love talking about the things people don't want to talk about. I'm like, why aren't we talking about this? Well, I want to start. Let's talk about this because it needs to be talked about. I love taboo topics.
so that's what Michelle Speaks is all about. If you hide it, you can't heal it. Because how do we heal if we don't address stuff? No
Some,
matter what our
what are some of the
say
taboo
that.
topics that you've covered so far on Michelle Speaks?
Some of them that I just mentioned, like the abortion, the church hurt, that's a two-part series. The abortion, because we're coming from both the female and the male's perspective. It was emotional. The church hurt, and then transformation, dealing with weight challenges and getting to the root of what the weight, why you put the weight on. Like, what was it? Was it abuse? Was it rejection? Was it abandonment? What was the root cause for you gaining the weight? Dealing with insecurities, because we all have them, especially we as women. Even with our so-called friends and family members, there's an underlying at times, and it's okay to have a godly envy or jealousy, but when it becomes toxic, that's a whole nother thing because of our own insecurities. So that's one of the topics. Courting versus date, courtship versus dating. Yeah, that topic. I can't wait to talk about that. And just a myriad of things. And I tell people, there's opportunities for advertising if you want to advertise your business or ministry. There's opportunities for people. If there is something that you want to talk about, get in contact with Michelle Speaks if you're in the local Jacksonville, Florida area. And we'll bring you on and we will talk about it. Not only will we talk about it, but we will provide hope, and we will provide hopefully viable solutions or resources to help you. We're talking about mental illness and dealing with depression and fear and anxiety and, just everyday stuff that we deal with. We're just taking the mask off.
Mask Off. Yes, there's a song called that out there now, and it's pretty popular. But Mask Off, and I've been hearing you say that a lot, and that is true though because we hide behind so much, and a lot of times we have this mask on, and we don't even realize it's as transparent as it is, and so you have a mask on for no reason
Right,
because everybody can see through it. But I can touch on that taboo topic of weight because it did not come from abuse. It did not come from anything else except for butter pecan ice cream and chocolate chip cookies. I know where that came from immediately, and it is
us.
unfair because they are delicious, and I cannot partake in them because they have put a lot of weight on me. But
Oh
yes,
my
I
God,
do.
I'm so sorry.
I had
I'm
to
laughing with you, sis, and not at you, right?
because now I have to eat broccoli and grapefruit, and I have to actually exercise. And I just stare at my freezer in the distance that I know used to house ice cream, and now it only houses ice without the cream. But yes, I mean, but
And see, that's
so there are so many things that are taboo, and like you said, church hurt. That's one that I'm always so interested in because the church is supposed to be such a healing institution, and we're supposed to get so much growth and nourishment from there. And then just to really hear what goes on in churches is just amazing, and how people are so hurt by their leadership and the congregation. And so church hurt is a taboo topic because people don't like to admit, especially leadership, they don't like to admit the things that they're doing wrong, and people don't
well.
like to admit their spiritual vulnerabilities and things like that. But it is real. And especially, if you're Christian, if you're a follower of the faith, you're supposed to flesh out all those issues because we're supposed to be fishers of men. And those issues need to be resolved because we are not doing God's work at all if
Right,
we're running people out of the church and not bringing them in. And that's the pain because we have enough people out there that don't believe in God, enough
right,
people out there that don't believe in God, and we're so messed up in the church. How can we bring other people in if the people already in there aren't
right.
together? But like you, taboo topics, and we're not going to go into that today because it's a beast of its own. So I hear
Well,
you say a lot. I hear you talk a lot about mental illness as well. Let's touch on mental illness in the African American community and why it's so prevalent. What is going on?
Well, I will say this, and this is just the more training that I have, the more workshops that I encounter, the more people that I come across of all shapes, of life, from all avenues of life. I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, that we all, to some extent, battle with some kind of mental health challenges. But particularly within the African American community, it is such a taboo topic. We want to sweep it under the rug. We want to say we all have that uncle or that aunt or that cousin that's just not right. Oh, he's just like that, or she's just that's just the way she is. No, there is something wrong. Why will we not go and get him or her the help that they need? Um, but we just put it off on, oh, that's just them. They've always been that way. We have to address it. We have to talk about it. We have to just be open about it because you cannot heal from anything. Again, I go back to that you don't address. And it's generational. I found out that my grandmother was bipolar. My mother suffers from clinical depression. I battle with generalized anxiety disorder, major mood disorder, agoraphobia, PTSD, and a myriad of things. But to look at me, you wouldn't know that. But you know what? Before, I would have been ashamed to say it because I didn't want to be labeled, you know, that person with mental health issues. She's crazy. Yeah, I may be a little bit, but we all are to a certain extent. But I'm functioning. It does not define who I am. It does not mean that I can't be a contributing member to society. So we just need to stop laughing, making fun of, taking it lightly. We really need to, as a community, come together and just be real about it and get our family members the help that they need. Schizophrenia is real. Within the African American community, but all over. I'm a part of an organization called NAMI, which is National Alliance of Mental Illness. I'm a facilitator for their peer-to-peer support group as well as their recovery support group. And it's made up of facilitators that all have mental health challenges to varying degrees, but we're functioning. We're functioning in the community. We're healing because we're helping others to heal because we're eliminating the taboo, the stigma. And so that is what we need to do within the African American community.
Now, I'm going to jump in and ask you a few questions because I'm going to take this portion of the interview. I'm going to take it there. So
Well, take
just to start lightly, do you feel as though more females or more males in the African American community suffer from mental illness?
Honestly, I would have to say that it's about even. Um, I think more women are starting to go and get the help than they need than men. Um, but
Yeah,
I
I can
think it's
see that. Yeah, I can understand that men normally shy away from medical treatment or psychological treatment. Women tend to get more, and I mean that's just with the medical field itself. Also, do you feel as though it has anything to do with how we have been mishandled? Our rights have been mishandled. Our families have been mishandled. We have been mishandled within this country. I wouldn't know if people of color throughout the world have higher mental illness rates, but within this country, do you think that is something that has been the psychological result of everything we've gone through, any type of coping mechanism? Because I could clearly see that.
absolutely, and I would agree with you that I believe that does have a major factor. It plays a major factor in that because think about this: men are providers, they're hunters. They are the king and the priest of the home. They go out and they protect and they provide and they produce for the home. If you've put in a position where you can't do that, or you are made to watch the degradation of your woman and your children, and you're stripped from your women and your children, who isn't going to be affected by that mentally, emotionally? You know what I mean? And then for the women, to have to endure the fact that they have to see their men whipped and beaten and degraded and talked about, and then having to then go and lay with the people that were responsible for it and bear their children, who wouldn't be affected by that? So yes,
Mhm.
absolutely, I believe that that plays a factor. And
And let's
then
talk about today, because today, even though we're not being whipped and beaten, we're being killed. We're being killed in broad daylight. We're being killed without any type of repercussions. We're being killed
right,
without any type of reason. I mean, this is still going on now. And as women, we have to consider the mental strain that it is to let your children leave the house and you don't know who they're going to encounter and if they're going to come home. You know, as women, we have our own fears. And a lot of people will say, oh, here they go again, crying victim. But the psychological impact, I also feel, comes from the fact that get justice no matter what you do, unless you absolutely go on a rampage and start a violent attack on another race. And that's not what we have any intention of doing. And so the psychological breakdown that you have trying to find resolution when you've gone to the justice system that is there to protect, but it's not protecting you. When you are writing legislatures, when you have gone to court and there have been trials and you're going to the media. And so I feel as though the reason the psyche is being ravaged is because there's no outlet, there's no justice, there's nowhere to turn. And so because
right.
there's no outlet, there's no release, you have an internal issue now, and now you have a coping mechanism that is trying to take place to help you. And that's where schizophrenia is coming in, bipolarity, anger disorders. It is mentally killing us, it is mentally ravaging us. We are having to deal with so much now as a community, and then the conflict that we have within ourselves, because again, we have nowhere to release it.
There's no recourse. Yeah, so I definitely agree with that because one, there's no recourse, and then because of that, um, the added stress comes in because now you have to determine how you're going to live, how you're going to take care of your children. And then that's a stressor because you're worrying about bills. So how can you be creative and, innovative if you're worrying about, okay, are the lights going to get cut off today? Okay, my children, or am I going to pay the rent? Um, when my husband or my wife leaves here today, because they're not just killing the men now, it's the women too. If I get stopped for a tail light being broken, am I going to make it out of that stop alive? And it's sad to say, I am afraid every time I see a policeman drive by me, and I'm not doing anything. I'm a honorable, um, contributing citizen to society, but do I trust them? No, and that's a sad state to be. Um, no, I just don't. I don't know,
I think
because
it's I think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting, and it has absolutely lowered my respect for the blue. But outside of that, not only that, but like you said, do I feed my family? Another issue that we have to realize: corporate America is run not by people of color, and so then you have to contend with anything that's going on out in the community coming into the workplace. I'm actually dealing with a situation right now in the workplace with discrimination, and just to know that you also have to face this at work, and you have to, like you say, have a mask on, and then they want to cry victim after they've discriminated or had any bias or prejudice against you. Then the tables have to be turned, and you're the culprit when you've done nothing wrong, and now your job can be in limbo, or your job is threatened. And by no means my job isn't threatened at all, but it can go to
right,
that extent. It can go to that extent, and the way that society is just functioning. So now you have to go into the workplace with this master complex, and how you communicate with them, and just making sure that you're not offensive. And if anything has been on national news, you have to make sure that you don't come off aggressive or angry, and you just have
right.
to keep this mentality and this communication, and all of it is psychologically exhausting. It's psychologically exhausting, and I can just see, and it breaks my heart to see the root of the psychological, of the mental illness in our community, because
I
it's
know it.
just so it's just sad. And it's where,
I,
how do we help each other? How do we help each other?
right,
Where do we start? It is a pit, and it is so deep, and it is so wide, and it is so varied. And you're just saying, first of all, we don't even trust each other. How are we helping each other? And we're not even on the same page as a people. We don't trust each other. We don't trust anybody, and we're looking at each other like we are the issue, and we don't trust each other to have the answers. And it's just so, and then the denial about it all. Lord forbid you approach someone and say, hey, there is a problem and we need to address it. I don't have a problem. Problems.
right.
you know
I know it seems like there is no answer. I mean, and it causes you to be speechless at times. But I think the first thing that we can do is to begin by trusting ourselves, because if we don't trust ourselves, we're not going to trust anybody else. And then we can begin educating ourselves and then lobbying for the rights of uh, color, as far as mental health laws and just in general. And then we get to the point where we can start legislating laws, changing the laws. But we have to do that with persistence and consistency and discipline and getting into those positions of power where we can affect change, positive change. And that will help. So, and that is I know you're very much on that path. You may not think you are, but you're very much on that path to be one of the voices and the agents of change within the African American community as it relates to that and many other causes. But not saying, and I don't want it to seem like I'm this militant person that's anti, you know, anti-Caucasian, because I'm not. I'm not. I'm just advocating for our community the way that nobody else is going to advocate for us.
and that
Those in positions,
that pisses
yeah, those in
me off
positions of power. Yeah.
when we are looked at as militant, or we're looked at as anti or racist, just because we're saying we want to be safe just like everybody else. It's like you have a murderer, and then you are putting the victim's family on trial for wanting justice. But here is the murderer who has committed the offense that started the whole issue, and you're not looking at the culprit, you're looking at the victim and asking the victim, what's wrong with you? And so, no, don't call me racist, don't call me militant, don't call me anything. you know we just want to be able to have the same quality of life and standard of life as everybody else seems to have. Nobody else seems to have to worry about their children being killed by the police for walking down the street with candy. Nobody else seems to have to worry about if they're going to make it out of a traffic stop okay. Why is it that you can't get through your head that something is really, really wrong here? How does that even seem morally acceptable? It is
That
absolutely
you hit on morals. That's a whole nother
sick.
topic for another day. Because the morality in this country has definitely deteriorated. I'll just say that. I don't know what the answer to that would be because, yeah.
So what else is going on, Michelle? Do you have anything coming up that you want to go ahead and let our viewers know about if they're going to be in the Jacksonville, northeastern Florida area? Any ways that we can assist your organizations where, excuse me, you accept donations? And how can our viewers reach you? So what do you have coming up that they can participate in? How can they reach you to give you donations and support you? And how can they get in contact with you?
Well, first, what we have coming up as far as Healing Women, Healing Nations, we have the support groups that are beginning the end of this month and will continue the every third or fourth Saturday of this month. I'm always looking for volunteers. I'm always looking for people to donate in-kind donations as far as services, food, drinks, because we want to create an emotional toolkit for the women. So, like, if you have things that you can put in bags, like lotions or, phone card or, things that they might need, hygiene items that they may need that they don't have because maybe they fled a domestic violence situation or just don't have because they don't have the funds or, the wherewithal. You can help us by um, well, for the Michelle Speaks, you can help me by tuning in to www.180radionow.com. Download the app to your phone and listen in every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And send people that have businesses or ministries that want to advertise, have them reach out to me at 904-370-3549 because we will advertise and we have reasonable prices. If you're looking to donate or sponsor, make a monetary donation to Healing Women, Healing Nations, go to www.hwhnfl.org and click on the link that says donate and make a donation. It's tax deductible, it's a write off. Um, because we are a grassroots operation, yes, we always need the support of those that are like-minded or are empathetic or sympathetic to our cause. And we are impacting the lives of women in our community. Go to the website, look at the pictures, go to the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/HWHNFL46. Look at some of the videos from our previous events, and you can see the impact that we're having within the community. Look at the testimonials on the website and consider making a donation to help support us for the end goal of establishing our shelter, which is going to meet a need that is not being met here in Jacksonville for our women veterans, especially those with children that are battling, that are suffering, that are homeless, that are not reaching out because the shelters that are in place, they're mixed gender and they don't feel safe and they want to protect their children and they're not getting the help because they don't want their children taken. So there's many ways that you can help us or support us. Spread the word, share the website, share the link, the Michelle Speaks. If you're in the Jacksonville area and there's something that you want to talk about, reach out to me so that we can get you on the show. 904-370-3549. I just want to take this time too, Amani, to thank you for allowing me the opportunity and the platform to share. I want to thank you for your commitment to change and being an age. I mean, you do so much. You're a writer, you're an author, you're a public speaker, you're an advocate, you're an activist, just like myself. And, and it takes that. You have to surround yourself with like minded people because this is not an easy walk. This is not an easy journey. You have people that will smile in your face and, stab you in your back and say that they're supportive, but they're out there spreading negative propaganda. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say negative naked. But so this is a tough journey. So being able to be alongside someone that's supportive and understands the journey, that is priceless and it's amazing. And I'm just so honored and so humbled. And I love you so much for your heart. So I just
I
want to
love
thank you. Thank you. And thank all of those that took the time out of their day to listen in. But be sure to tune in Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Michelle Speaks. If you hide it, you can't heal it. And support Healing Women, Healing Nations of Northeast Florida because we are making changes within the community.
absolutely. And I just want to, with a sad, sad heart, I just want to tell people butter pecan ice cream and chocolate chip cookies do not fix everything. I've tried it and I have failed. Thank you so much, Michelle. I hope that our viewers got resources and anything else that they needed, the information they needed out of it. This is my sister. This is why I love her so much. She's out here making change in the community. I'm out here trying to make change in the community. We want to know what you guys
You're not trying, you're doing.
Yes, we're out here making change in the community, and we want to connect with you. If you're out there and you're in our area or your organization would like to partner with hers or mine or anything, let us know because that's what we're here for. It's not all about the me, it's not all about the I, it's about the we. It's about the us. That's how change is made. And so, you guys, we want to thank Michelle for taking time out of her day. We've held her hostage, and it's obvious that she's a little under the weather. So, I'm going to release her to go get some healing for herself.
Thank you.
And we love
Thank
you. We thank you for all that you do. Thank you again. And you guys connect with her. I'll have her information down below in the links. Have a great day, Michelle.
Peace. Be well.